It's time for the One Bar and Lupica Show, bringing you anything and everything Minnesota Vikings.
Welcome to professional football.
All right, welcome back to the One Bar and Lupica Show. I am One Bar, and in today's episode, we're going to talk, holy shit, what are the Vikings going to do at guard for the 2020 season? Free agency's over, the draft's over, and as of now, our guard situation is pretty much spot on as compared to last year, except one big thing. We released our best guard. So we're down a man. We're down a good man. So before we get into this very, very scary topic, remember, like the video, subscribe to the One Bar and Lupica Show. We're going to be bringing you Vikings nuggets all throughout the offseason and thickly into the regular season. So let's look at the Vikings' current guard situation. All right, we'll put a diaper on because it's a little scary. All right, guards. Left guard, Pat Elflein. We know what we got there. Right guard, brand new, shiny face. Well, almost brand new. Last year's 4th round draft pick, Drew Samia. Didn't play much last year. He got in the final game, inactive quite a bit. From what we know from his college days, Drew Samia was a mauler. He was a bruiser. He wasn't very nice, which I absolutely love. High hopes for Drew Samia. Surprised he didn't see more action as a rookie, but now in hindsight, when you look at it, maybe it was a good thing. Maybe he needed a little seasoning. Maybe he was a little rough around the edges. Maybe he comes in more than ready his second year, and he's going to be handed those keys to that right guard position, especially with Josh Klein, Gonzo. So Drew Samia is a big old question mark. We're going to find out pretty quick if he can handle the NFL and if he's a starter. So behind him, we got Dakota Dozier, well-traveled vet. Was here last year, stepped in a pinch, actually played pretty damn good. I don't think he's a guy that's going to push for a starting spot by any means, but he offers a good veteran presence behind these guys. I actually like Dakota Dozier quite a bit. I'm glad he's on the team because we need depth. On the other side, Aviante Collins, just a guy that's, he showed glimpses in preseason before, but Pat Elflein is in front of him, so that is scary enough right there. Behind them, we got Kyle Hinton, our baby fresh 7th rounder from Washburn. Let's face it, Kyle Hinton, he dominated small school level, and he's going to be fighting for a spot. So he's not going to be fighting for a spot on the starting line, but he's going to be fighting for a spot on this roster. And who knows, maybe he beats out Collins, maybe he gives Dakota Dozier a run for his money. So those are our current guards right now. And if the season were to start tomorrow, unfortunately for us, our starting guards would be Pat Elflein and Drew Samia. And that's just the way it is. But things could have changed after draft weekend. For some reason, the Vikings neglected the guard position until their final pick in round 7. They had about 15 picks, and guard just wasn't on their radar. What I should mention is one guy, Blake Bradel from Oregon State. He was drafted. He was an offensive tackle that they're looking at moving inside the guard, so he could also be an option for depth, a guy that's fighting for one of those final guard spots. But let's look at the big question mark. They drafted Ezra Cleveland in round 2 from Boise State. Started his whole career at left tackle for Boise State, is a left tackle, but maybe there's some way they're looking at him that they're going to move him into the left guard position. And maybe it's just for his rookie year. Maybe it's just short term until Riley Reif is gonzo, but that could be an option. I don't really like that option. I don't think he's big enough. I don't think he's strong enough. He's more of the athletic type of tackle that I could see struggling at left guard. And to throw him there, I think would actually maybe even be a downgrade to Pat Elflein, which is a very, very bold statement. One thing I could see them doing is actually throwing Ezra Cleveland at left tackle as a rookie and moving Riley Reif in. And people have been talking about moving Riley Reif in for the last couple of years. They haven't done it yet, but maybe the fact that they got Cleveland, they got a guy that they could try at left tackle. Maybe this is the year. Riley Reif hasn't played guard since his pretty much his freshman year in college, I think. So that will be a transition. Riley Reif is seasoned enough. I think he could manage the position change. I think he'd be just fine. He'd probably be even a little bit of an upgrade over Pat Elflein. but we'd also be downgrading at left tackle. Ezra Cleveland, I think, has quite a bit of potential to be a starting left tackle for the Vikings. I just don't think he's ready year one. That'd be putting a lot of pressure on him. Last thing we'd want to do is demoralize his self-confidence by throwing him out there and he's just getting smoke showed left and right. But the way you look at it now, the fact that the Vikings didn't address guard at all until round 7, and they got Ezra Cleveland, they must have something up their sleeve. They must have some sort of plan. I can't see them going into the season starting the same offensive line as they did last year, aside from Samia taking over for Klein. If they like Kirk Cousins at all, if they like Dalvin Cook at all, they hopefully have a plan. I could see them playing around with this offensive line quite a bit in preseason and training camp, trying to find a good mix, whether it's trying Cleveland at guard, trying Reef at guard. We shall see. And even though I say that Cleveland isn't ready year one, we pretty much said the same thing about Brian O'Neill. When the Vikings got Brian O'Neill in round 2, everyone thought he was a year or so away, but he stepped in right off the bat, and he proved to be one hell of a right tackle, still is. So anything's possible for Ezra Cleveland. Let's look at a backup plan that the Vikings might have in their back pocket, and that is free agency. There's still some guys out there that can play. Unfortunately, the best damn left guard out there, or right guard, is Josh Klein, who we gave his walking papers to. So I can't see them bringing him back. They must have got rid of him for a reason, but maybe it was financial. Maybe they're waiting to see after the draft, and they have some sort of deal in place where he can come back. Who knows? Another free agent, Michael Scofield, a guy who has played for the Broncos. He's played for the Chargers. He might be an option. I think he's 29 or so. Decent guard. I think he's pretty on par with Josh Klein, maybe even a little worse than Josh Klein. So I don't think it would be, he plays on the right side. So if we brought him in, it would be that Samia probably wouldn't be playing, or really shuffling this lineup. Another thing to keep in mind, though, with Scofield is back in, I think it was 2017 when he got released, the Vikings did put a claim in for him, but they were beat out by the Chargers. So that's an option. Another guy that just got released, DJ Fluker from Seattle. People are asking, maybe we'll bring this guy in. I don't see that happening. We run the zone scheme, and Fluker is not made for that. He's a big bruiser, a big guy that just needs to grab onto somebody and push him around. I don't think he fits this line. So anyone thinking DJ Fluker's coming home to Minnesota, I just can't see that. So I think it comes down to the fact that Spielman, Zimmer, they got something up their sleeve as far as how they're going to reshuffle this line. I don't think anyone can see another season with Pat Elflein at left guard. I don't think Kirk Cousins would survive it. And we'll just have to live with the fact that Pat Elflein is our starting left guard, and we got to live with the hope that Drew Samia is going to be fantastic.